Είμαστε έτοιμοι? Τι λέτε, να ξεκινήσουμε? Πάρα πολύ ωραία. Θα γίνει και μια...
I think we're ready to begin, and from what I hear, the head is going to be making a statement, and the minister, and then we're going to start. So please find an empty chair and sit down. And we're also going to surprise the minister. When I tell you, please, let's have a round of applause, because he's the first to speak, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right? And since we're speaking live and we have nothing to hide, Mr. Kiranakis is going to speak second. Mr. Papathanasis is going to speak first. But I think that he's got involved in what the alternate ministers get involved in. So we're going to hear from the alternate Minister of Transport. Is there a problem? No. After all, we're live and these things happen. We're on air, so we may have some mistakes as well. Okay, quite a lot of people here. I see that there's great interest in the topic that we're going to be discussing today. We are going to create the conditions for competitiveness, social cohesion, transport, environment, and civil protection, after all. And the topic that I'd like to we're going to be talking about today, I've been covering for the last 30 years. The very known logo, there is money, and the way in which money has been distributed within these national strategic reference frameworks is something that I've experienced for years with many ministers. Mr. Resiilent really has always been greatly concerned in order for this money to be used in cases of social cohesion. Social cohesion cannot be achieved without your efforts. So let's have a round of applause for Mr. Kiranakis, first of all, the alternate Minister of Transport, who is going to be the first speaker at today's event. Okay, please come to the podium then. Yes, Miss, you can choose. After all, you're the minister. So, I wish every success to the PA Pavilion, which is a vital tool for all ministries implementing various projects. At this point in time, the Ministry of Transport for us is a very important crossroads. Today is a very important day as well, because after Tembi, everything closed down, and that was right, because everything needed to be checked, and very scrutinizing checks were carried out regarding various contracts. Projects could not go ahead. And I'd like to greatly thank Vasilis Siadimas, the new Secretary General of the PA. Let's have a round of applause, who came to my office a few weeks ago. Came to our offices rather a few weeks ago. It's the first time I met the Secretary General. He came ready with a portfolio for every project he knew of at our ministry, and he had better knowledge than most of our services. With what regards the railways and other projects, and the projects are about to begin. So here in Thessaloniki, I'm in a position to announce that this Tuesday we have the call of the PA for the peri-urban railway of Thessaloniki, what you've been asking for, and is finally going to be implemented with the European funding. So together with Nikos Papathanasis, who is one of the most effective ministers of this government, and thank you for the collaboration, the peri-urban railway and many other projects are going to be put into implementation so that we can put behind us a very black page for the Ministry of Transport, which deeply wounded the ministry and the whole of Greece. We can only change the picture with work rather than words, and we thank you for your continuous support. So thank you, Minister, for being very brief, and let's now hear from Mrs. Vasiliki Pantalopoulou, who is the Secretary General of the Partnership Agreement for Regional Development. Welcome. Good evening to everyone, and thank you very much indeed for the invitation. Thank you, Secretary General, Mr. Siadimas. The alternate minister has not yet arrived, and I shall welcome him later on. So, distinguished alternate minister, dear Secretary Generals, representatives of the European Commission, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to be here at the Thessaloniki International Fair, which is an institution of international prestige in a city which is a crossroads of ideas and creativity. Thessaloniki brings together tradition and innovation, always looking forward, as does our country through the PA. The sectoral programs of PA 2021-2027 contribute in a significant manner to creating a country that is more competitive and more resilient, with heightened social cohesion, sustainable infrastructure, protected natural environment, and updated civil protection mechanisms. Resources for sectoral programs, competitiveness, environment and climate change, transferred on civil protections in the current programming period exceed 10 billion euros, and the overall funding in the ESF is more than 4 billion euros. We are already in the middle of the programming period, and Greece is in third place with regard to absorption of PA funds for 2021-2027, according to the most recent data published by the European Commission. This achievement is actually very impressive and basically reflects the efforts that we have all made, all stakeholders, that is, including also the Secretary General, Mr. Siadimas, of course, whose contribution has been decisive for a quicker transposition of EU funds in actual projects and ventures that improve the daily life of us all. However, behind these indicators, there are also projects that change our daily lives, strengthen MSMEs, digitize the public and private sector, improve infrastructure, strengthen local communities, and also protect us against the climate crisis. With regard to competitiveness, PA is the most important investment tool in Greece for many years with specialized works. We support the establishment of new companies and the strengthening of current companies. With regard to social cohesion, development cannot only be measured with economic indicators, and at the heart of it action, we need to have people. PA means equal access to quality healthcare services, childcare, education and training, supporting employment, with a focus on women, young people, and vulnerable groups. Now, with regard to the environment program, the green transition is now a strategic priority. Using the PA projects, we reduce the environmental footprint, promote circular economy, protect natural ecosystems, and ensure a clean, sustainable environment for future generations. A characteristic example of this is the Greco Islands initiative, transforming our islands into models of sustainable and fair transition with green energy, sustainable movement, and resilience vis-à-vis environmental change and climate change. In transport, we invest in infrastructure connecting Greece to the world and Europe. The alternate minister mentioned very important projects a little while ago in collaboration with Mr. Siadimas, the Metro of Thessaloniki, also the E65 highway, the National Highway Patras and Pyrgos. We were recently inaugurated by the Prime Minister, make our daily life easier, safer, and more sustainable. In civil protection, this is also a very important priority. Resources are given to prevention and strengthening the resilience vis-à-vis natural disasters and climate risks. Safety is also a founding stone of every modern operational society. Now, a few words about the review of the PA programs 21-27, within which the PA General Secretariat participates. The progress achieved is important. However, the surrounding environment is constantly changing. New geopolitical developments and international upheaval, increased energy costs, the need to strengthen productivity and industrial competitiveness, the housing crisis have all created and led to conversations for the need of the EU to correspond in a satisfactory manner to these new global challenges. Within this new framework, in the current programming period, we have new strategic priorities such as accessible and affordable housing, competitiveness and decarbonization, defense and safety, energy transition, access to water and sustainable and safe water resources management, development of skills in the fields of defense, decarbonization and STEP. The PA programs in Greece are already looking at the possibilities of revision of programs in order to satisfactorily incorporate all these new priorities and to respond to the challenges of our times. Our goal is to work flexibly in a targeted manner, adapted to the challenges of our day and age. The PA is not simply a financing tool after all. It is a practical showcase of solidarity and a social contract between the state and its citizens. It is a power that turns political will into action, our goals into work and actual facts, and the work of our citizens into opportunities. In conclusion, I'd like to warmly thank, first of all, the Secretary General, Mr. Siadimas, with whom we are working very closely in an excellent manner, and thank for the invitation. The alternate Minister of National Economy and Finance, Mr. Nikos Papathanasis, for his very substantial support and guidance and cooperation. And finally say that Greece is moving forward in a confident manner with a vision, with a developmental prospect, committed to its prospects and a future that it deserves. Thank you very much, and thank you for also being brief in your presentation. And now we would like to welcome Mr. Lazaros Kyrizoglou, the Chairman of the Central Union of the Municipalities of Greece, a mentor indeed of local authorities.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your kind introduction, Mr. Minister, Secretary Generals, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, after many years, we can see a very specific vision for Thessaloniki. We are in Thessaloniki. The subway is finished, and it's changed the lives and transportation in the city for the better. The flyover the elevated motorway is constructed at a very high speed, a very high pace. The child hospital in Filiro, one of the best children's hospitals in Europe, is now underway. As a mayor of Western Thessaloniki, I was really very pleased to hear today the tender for the suburban, very urban railway, and this will facilitate thousands of industrial workers, apart from the local communities, which have to commute to the broader region of Kallohori, the industrial zone of Thessaloniki, and thousands of students, university students of the largest university in the country. Because media of transportation, public transportation needs people, people moving back and forth so that they are sustainable. Mr. Siadimas, it is our cooperation with you and your ministry is great. We have a lot of funding tools this period available to the local government, apart from the programs that under your ministry. However, not everything is perfect, and as a mayor, I have to put in another dimension, and I will I want to approach this from a positive perspective, not negative criticism, so that we improve things in Greece, in our homeland. And you should focus on that in the ministry. How we value time, prioritize projects based on time division. And time is very relevant. And I'm talking about the red tape and processes without, of course, suggesting that we should put aside transparency and legal procedures. And I would like to close by saying the last thing. The national swimming pool in Thessaloniki has closed because it was an outdated facility. So for water sports, young people have to go to the city of Volos or to Bulgaria. Nikos Papathanasis is a very consistent and competent minister, and this managed to salvage the transfer of the reconstruction to another funding tool. He made a promise, and he kept that promise, a modern bioclimatic swimming complex. So we have international events organized in Western Thessaloniki, the former military facilities, in a region where over 500,000 people reside, and most of them are industrial workers. So the social dimension of the targeting of a new project is very important, and this is going to be the only the only swimming pool in northern Greece, and this means that you kept your promise. You made a promise and you kept it, and you're going to implement this project. I think what we should focus on is completing works on time.
Ένα σύντομο χαιρετισμό για να είμαστε.
Now, Mr. Woutikas, we delayed because Mr. Papathanasis had another engagement, and he'll be here in a while. Thank you very much for the invitation. I am the Deputy Governor of Thessaloniki. Welcome, Mr. Minister, Alternate Minister, representatives of the local government, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the Secretary General of local projects, Mr. Siadimas, for inviting us to this very important discussion, which we're going to have, and it will focus on EU funding. In local government, we are used to claiming funding, not for us, but for the people of our municipalities and our regions. But when something is achieved through smooth cooperation, we have to say thank you. And given this opportunity, I would like to thank Mr. Kiranakis, the alternate Minister for Transport, who very quickly realized the need to fund through EU funding the development of the peri-urban railway. This is connected to the subway a few months from now, when the line to Kalamaria will also be in operation, and when we have the peri-urban railway, we're going to have a connection between the eastern Thessaloniki and western Thessaloniki, the industrial zone, and the most distant municipality of the region of Thessaloniki, the municipality of Chalkidona. And we also expect, after this completion of this project, to have further expansion of the city to the west. Secondly, I would like to thank Mr. Skiadimas and Mr. Papathanasis for our cooperation in this new programming period. This is the largest funds for the region. We manage 1.4 billion euros. And what is the objective? To absorb, and second objective, to for the citizens to understand, the citizens who live this in the city, that through EU funding their lives are changing, their daily experiencing of the city is changing. 85% of the national budget comes from the BA. We had calls for entrepreneurship. We're going to support SMEs with 200 million in the sector of tourism, manufacture, and for the first time, services. And of course, there is no sector of economic activity that is not being supported by PA. Social structures. We ensured the smooth operation and constant operation of such social structures in all 18 municipalities of the region. In the part of healthcare, we have very smooth cooperation with relevant authorities, and we support healthcare facilities. About urban regeneration, we targeted specific actions which focused on the environment. I'm talking about the coastal front of Thessaloniki at a length of coastline 6 kilometers and 6,000 stremata, which cleaned a whole area that had been forgotten by the city, and we have upgraded it. And the next period, with the support of PA, we're going to connect it in a viable way with the remaining urban center of the city. And finally, something about the cooperation with the municipalities. And Mr. Kirizoglu mentioned the issue of timely completion of projects. We decided, together with the municipalities in all 12 municipalities of the prefecture of Thessaloniki, we're going to have one, at least, emblematic project of urban regeneration for a greener municipality, so that all studies of the municipalities move very fast, so that citizens see in a very short period of time such very large regeneration projects, so that citizens understand that their lives, their municipalities are changing. So with these few thoughts and a wish I would like to close that. And we need the ministry support here for the Ministry of National Economy, that to include for the first time in the PA projects the sports facilities. We've never had that opportunity in the past to maintain sports facilities that have been dilapidated, and this is very important for the younger generation, especially issues pertaining to criminality. And now we have with us Mr. Hatzimarkos. Thank you very much, Mr. Hatzimarkos. During these speeches, these addresses, we had representatives. Thank you, Mr. Kiranakis. Thank you very much for being here. So we had representatives of the fire services. Thank you very much for being here, and also the representatives of the police authorities. Mr. Siadima will wait for Mr. Papathanasis, so we'll have to fill in this temporal gap. Okay, let's give him an applause so that he knows where we are. We are here, Mr. Minister. Welcome. Come to the podium directly.
Αργήσατε πάρα πολύ.
Okay, don't worry, you're not too late. Only about half an hour. I do apologize. But there is a reason, because we had the event organized by the European Commission with Apostolos Tzitzikostas. Yes, well, thankfully the PA programs are not delayed as a result. Yes, I saw Apostolos Tzitzikostas and we talked together about tourism. We are lucky as a country because this portfolio is in the hands of the Greek EU Commissioner together with Transport. So, welcome once again, regional governors, secretary generals, presidents, distinguished representatives of the local authorities, and distinguished representatives of the European Commission, members and executives of all the various units, ladies and gentlemen. We are, and I note that strongly, we are only a few hours away from the announcements that are going to be made by the Prime Minister. Well, do tell us what he's going to say. We will keep it a secret. No, we have to wait a few minutes. So, the announcements going to be made by the Prime Minister are strongly related to what you have just discussed here. And what does that mean? That the better our economy does, the more our society will be able to enjoy the dividends of these efforts on the economy. And what does the economy depend on? Well, on the resources and on the support provided through the various programs made available to the government. One key tool, and we need to point out here that we are proud to be European citizens in this respect because we have received a lot of funding and resources from the European Union. So one of the most important financing tools are the PA and the sectoral programs, which are in progress. And with this opportunity, please allow me to congratulate the Secretary General Vasilis Diadismas for his very hard work, and Mrs. Pantelopoulou, all representatives of the managing authorities and the units. Why? Because we still hold in Europe the first, second, third position. It keeps changing in the absorption of funds. And what does this mean, practically speaking, dear representatives of the European Commission? It means that we are doing something right in this country, and we'd really like to thank you very much for our collaboration, for the help that you give us in order for us to do our work better, always in respect of the euros and resources offered by the citizens of Europe, and always having as our rule of law that we need to serve the needs of our citizens on a daily basis with regard to infrastructure. So our programs are in full progress. The specialization of the programs also. In the Transport 2021-2027 program for the Ministry of Transport, we have a budget of 2.2 billion. Line 4 of the Athens Metro is included. Zero-emission buses for Athens and Thessaloniki. The new double railway line for Athens and Patra. And right now we're also at 63%, so quite far ahead with regard to the activation of the program, with 20 calls and a budget of 1.4 billion euros. The next calls are coming soon, within the year, and we're talking about the peri-urban or regional railway of Thessaloniki. We have just signed the relevant documents. 15 million euros is the cost, and the completion of interventions on the Pathe railway, 155 million is the budget. Environment, climate change, PECA, the continuation of IMEPERA, includes actions involving the energy sector, climate change. The climate crisis is a key issue which affects the whole of Europe and the society of Europe, because The climate crisis is an asymmetric threat right now. And I'd like to say that although we had secured 300 million in the regular budget, this amount has been doubled for the climate crisis. That's what I'm talking about, and the relevant expenses due to the climate crisis and the relevant damage, and reached a budget of 600 million. In 2024, in the end, we ended up paying in expenses for damage 730 million. The climate crisis, this asymmetric event, once again needs a strong economy and a strong forecast for dealing with such phenomena. Because when we have fires, such as the one in Patras, for example, we need to have the relevant resources available, which are not part of the national budget, and to channel the resources there so that the areas do not flood. Anti-NERO, anti-flood projects, all these are essential. Next, with regard to the urban environment, 270 million strategic projects for electric connection of Crete, the completion of the independent natural gas system ESPA in Alexandroupolis, a lot of urban regeneration projects, the Bay of Fáliro, which is going to finally be completed, projects of 350 million, water supplies, water management projects. Key part of the revisions, which are going to give us the right to gain one more year plus 10%. One of the axes for these is water management, along with housing and events. So, within this framework of this review, Greece wants to transfer funds to STEP as well in order to have this extra year made available. In a way, as a government and as a state, we do not want to waste a single euro or lose a single euro. So, yes, another important project, which is an operation, which is the largest program that the Greek state has never entered in, 2.2 billion euros. A large part of this is from the PA 2127, and we continue. We continue in order to be able to give back to society what Europe is offering to us as an opportunity, so as to support the business community, Mr. Chairman, so that you can create wealth and jobs, reduce unemployment even further from 7.8%. 10 points lower in the last 6 years. The state is obliged to create the conditions to support entrepreneurship through these programs so that each Greek man and woman and young people have the opportunity to come back also. We have a serious demographic issue after all. And, as I said, in a few hours, the Prime Minister will also be talking about these demographic issues as well. Thank you very much indeed, Alternate Minister. And now I give the floor to Mr. Panagiotis Pandazakos, who is the Deputy Head of Unit Greece Cyprus at DG Regio. Mr. Pandazatos, please be as brief as possible so we have time for all the speakers and to hear about the best examples that are going to be presented here today.
Thank you very much. Dear all, friends of political cohesion, a very good event. And to be very, very brief, I will not talk about the projects that have been implemented, difficulties or other issues. I'm going to talk about critical issues that are very significant for the successful completion of projects, administrative competence. We have an example of a very significant package, and we're going to have another one from the Social Fund. We have a package to strengthen 3 bodies that are important for the waste management, water, and the local government that implements territorial intervention projects. They implement the projects. They should be in a position to implement them, and they should have the ability to operate them. The sustainability of projects is a critical factor. We all read every now and then, especially during the summer holidays when we have people on holiday, a number of problems from projects that were not implemented correctly. This is very critical and very important because we don't implement projects for a short period of time. We make them and we implement them so that citizens benefit for a long period of time. And I would like to say that the smooth operation of projects is the first factor that will allow us to support political and social cohesion within the negotiation for the next budget of the European Commission. The next critical factor is the labor force in the various stakeholders. So this is a critical factor as well. We have made positive steps with new personnel that are coming in. We should strengthen them. The staff of the managing authority has been renewed. We should have younger people, newer generations with new skills and new knowledge. So younger people should bring in younger and new skills. The review is one of the things that we have undertaken. We have the first interim stage of the review where we managed to have through the smooth cooperation. The second stage of the review is underway now. Smooth cooperation is a very significant factor for success. We do have issues. Well, life is full of difficulties. We have difficulties and problems that may arise, but what is important is that through good cooperation to find solutions, not just discuss issues, but find solutions for whatever problem arises. You know that all the European Commission services are here as supporters. We have a common objective. Thank you very much. Yes, we have a common objective. A person who knows about objectives is the head of all the regional governors. Mr. Hadzimarkou, you have the floor. Thank you very much. This is a great opportunity to be with you today, Mr. Minister. For me, it's a great opportunity since I take the floor after Mr. Pantazatos, and I start from something that you said. We are here as friends of political cohesion. What is for friends of the policy of cohesion? What is this policy of cohesion? It's a framework of the United Europe, which has agreed that in the course for the convergence and accession of new countries, we're going to have funding tools which is going to support this objective. In Greece, it means nothing until we make a decision at a very high political level and we stop this cohesion policy. So what is this cohesion policy? This cohesion policy is asphalt, cement, iron, major projects, very important projects, infrastructure projects. Is that only about infrastructure projects? It's mainly healthcare, health in a society that needs it. And we recently experienced in our country many nights when we had to spread a safety net over a society that was in risk of breaking up. So what are these actions? Vouchers in daycare centers. It's the smooth operation of all social structures at a time when the country could not support basic services. Yes, it's what we call European Social Fund, the infrastructure, and one of the things that we have to do as governors, regional governors, is to head special services for the management of regional operational programs. Ladies and gentlemen, I would never, never want... I'm not going to talk about the rest of the country, the part of the country that I'm serving, what it would be like if we didn't have these funds, especially in the difficult period that we went through in the previous years. And when we talk about the Europe of numbers, blackmailers, I'm talking about the Europe that stood by us during our most difficult, dark times. And we have managed to remain standing thanks to our resilience, the resilience of our people, but also because we had this support, the resources, the funds that Mr. Papathanasis mentioned, and I can see here their colleagues and our associates, Mr. Nikos Papamalungas. We haven't called you for some time, which means that you have managed to sign faster. I speak to Mr. Mamalungas more than I speak to my wife. So if we didn't have that money, we wouldn't be able to have this smile to society. We do not focus on data and figures. I don't say to people, look at what we have achieved and vote for us and congratulate us. There will be a time when we do that. But I'm here today to tell you, especially concerning the cohesion policy, that this is the result of the work of a whole society, because it's not the entire society, a society of dark criticism, negative criticism, that everything is vain and everything is gray. No, we have people who wake up in the morning and deal with work issues with their family, and they want to be productive, and they want to be part of the solution and part of the process that is creative. This is the Greece that I want to serve. This is the Greece that I want to represent. I'm very pleased that we do that within a group of people with whom we have this common approach. Minister Mr. Papathanasis is a hard minister, but I'm very pleased to be able to cooperate with him, because he is one of the ministers who have set certain rules in a country that derailed, in quotes, because it didn't have rules. And I'm suffering from his administrative approaches. On the other hand, I celebrate the fact that the fiscal reality today is at the hands of people who manage it in such a way that will not allow us to return to our dark times. We have to tell the people that PA is not an acronym, is not a given, is not something owed to us. It's not our money. It's not our money, most of it. It's money, yes, people from taxpayers' money from other countries. We have to be much more respectful. We should be very thankful that we have them, and in the next programming period, struggle in the European Commission, in the European family, show respect, remain serious, create alliances, and be creative. Thank you very much.
Alternate Minister, do tell us if you need to leave the event. Now we'd like to invite to the podium Mrs. Christiana Costinescu, who is the head of unit for Greece and Cyprus from DG Employment, Social Affairs and Inclusion. Please let's welcome her to the podium. Mrs. Siadimas, you shall then be speaking. So, good evening, everyone.
To be here today in this very dynamic place. I'm happy to see this. Dear Minister, the Secretary Generals, Governor, and representatives of the local government. It is my pleasure to address you. On behalf of DG Employment and Social Inclusion, It is also a bit of a luck to speak after Mr. Governor, who now is there and probably doesn't hear, but I know he values so much what the European Social Fund does. And I'm, of course, always happy to see that, a governor sees the value of investing in people. Because indeed, cohesion policy and ESPA is a powerful instrument for transformation, transformation of our economies, transformation of our societies. And specifically, the European Social Fund has been a vital tool in this sense. We have transformed together with you, working together in partnership. Daily, we have transformed the way social services, health services, educational services are delivered at local level, at the regional level. We have strengthened the network of these services, and I trust that we will continue to do so in very good partnerships. Now, I had a bit of a speech here, but now I'm not looking at it anymore, and I want to give you actually an example. During my summer holiday, which was in Greece, I met Spiros. Spiros is a waiter in a taverna, in a restaurant in Preveza. And we got to talk a bit more because he forgot that we paid, actually, and he came apologizing, almost crying. And whilst talking with him, I realized that Spiros was working since April between 10 and 12 hours per day with no day off. He actually told us, I am so tired that I cannot sleep anymore, not even the hours I could sleep. I am so tired that I'm forgetting a lot of things, including us paying. But I have no choice because I have a big family, I have many children, and housing costs, utility costs are more and more expensive. But what was also very interesting to hear was that Spiros had a university degree and was also a trained paramedic. So yeah, this story remained somehow in my heart. And I know that, we speak always about the European Social Fund and about cohesion policy, addressing people's needs. And indeed, we should focus on what the European Social Fund should achieve, on what matters for people like Spiros. And what matters for these people? It matters that they can have decent wages. How can we do this? Yes, increasing competitiveness, increasing value added of our investments, and investing in skills, investing in skills that do matter for the labor market. We need to indeed help these people enter the labor market, help these people have rights. This is very important, workers' rights. We need to really try to reinforce this. And then, we speak very often about demographic challenges. This is very relevant for Greece, and I know that the Ministry of Social Cohesion is taking now actions together with the Ministry of Finance in this regard. But for this, we need to continue to reinforce the social safety net. And I hope that we will have your cooperation and your continuous cooperation on that. I will stop here because I know we are pressed by time, but I trust we will have good discussions in this session, and I'm confident for the future, and also for what the future multi-annual financial framework will offer, because we have a minimum 14% allocation that is about 100 billion euros, that is more or less equivalent with what the European Social Fund has now. And in addition, we have other instruments. We have the Competitiveness Fund that also invests in skills. We have the Social Climate Fund, and so on. So it's not a matter of diminishing resources for cohesion policy, but it is a matter of making these resources more flexible and targeting them to what is really needed at national level, at the regional, and at local level. So thank you very much, and I wish you very good discussions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Koundinescu, from your time. Κύριε Σεδήμα, ελάτε στο βήμα. Είμαστε 40 λεπτά πίσω από το...
So please, Mr. Siadimas, now come to the podium. We are 40 minutes late, so let's have a round of applause. You heard the alternate minister, Mr. Kyrianakis, that you were the only one to come to the office and have your portfolios ready for all 19 projects. Okay, let me start by being brief, and this is a message also to the next speakers so that we can conclude our event as we should, because we have a lot of distinguished speakers. So, dear Minister, Mr. Kyrianakis, Deputy Alternate Minister, Secretary General, President of MOD, dear guests, members of the European Commission, first of all, thank you all for being here with us today. We have the opportunity here at the Helexpo in northern Greece to be able to show to you our work, what we have done. And I have chosen, in order not to take up too much time, to show you only 2 slides. So, first of all, in our 5 programs, we have a budget of 14.5 billion euros. Human resources and social cohesion, 4.1 billion. Civil protection, 713 million. Transport, 2.2 billion. Environment and climate change, 3.6 billion. And competitiveness, 3.8 billion. In the next table, there's a pie that shows approved projects and actions. So, 10.8 billion are approved projects all over Greece. Out of these, 2 billion are for northern Greece, Central Macedonia, Western Macedonia, and Eastern Macedonia and Thrace. 2 billion, I repeat, without taking into account the advantages given to Western Macedonia through the Just Transition Fund that the previous event explained in detail. And the next slide now. That's all. I will be finishing with this. So, the competitiveness program in northern Greece right now. Approvals, 453 million. What does this signify? Actions that have to do with state aid from various targeted programs on green transition, digital transformation, and the establishment of new companies, open trade centers, loans given by the PIH 3 together with the Hellenic Development Bank, Research and Innovate program, the digital innovation hubs, and the technology transfer offices. Let me focus on 2 of these types of projects. We have 3,176 investment plans in the 3 regions of northern Greece out of 13,560 that we spoke about in the previous event. And the public expenditure in this case is all about 400 million euros. I'd also like to point out the project, the lithium battery projects for energy storage, 112 million euros total cost, the public expenditure 50 million, beneficiary Samlight. This is a project operating in the Eastern Macedonia and Thrace region. We have a clear goal to create value, to offer products with an international profile, and create new high-quality jobs. Human Resources and Social Cohesion Program. 3 regions of northern Greece, approvals of 923 million euros. These approvals involve continuing vocational training for the unemployed, internship, work experience with subsidies for beneficiaries, work experience for unemployed 30 years and above. And I'd like to particularly mention the program that we carried out with the Public Employment Agency, subsidizing with 17,000 euros 30 to 59 years of age people in the 30 regions. 3,334 investment business plans have been subsidized. 57 million euros is approximate total. Lifelong learning is not a choice, but a precondition. Upskilling and reskilling, and I'll say this repeatedly, are key tools for adapting in a constantly changing world. Let me move on with the third row, environment and climate change. The green transition is not simply a best practice for the environment, but is actually the strategic direction we need to follow in the future. In northern Greece, we have approvals amounting to 426 million, energy upgrading for hospitals, 10 actions in total with 10 regional hospitals, 43.8 million is the budget. Energy upgrading at universities, district heating network in Western Macedonia, anti-flood projects, urban waste management, and water supply projects. And let me mention in particular, since we will be talking about Alexandroupolis and the independent natural gas project later on, which has a budget and eligible expense of 48 million euros. Mr. Mamaloukas, you and the contractor will be able to talk about this project later on. So these projects modernize critical infrastructure, reduce the environmental footprint, strengthen energy security, and improve quality of life. Nevertheless, we also have the word resilience in the title, and that is a foundation for any sort of development. So let's move to the fourth row, civil protection. The civil protection program right now is carrying out projects in northern Greece with a total budget of 194 million euros. In main axes such as prevention, readiness, tackling issues of civil protection and recovery. Through this program, 70 fire engines are going to come to the region and 2 helicopters that will help not only in the extinguishing of fires, but also in other emergencies when we have damage caused by moving equipment and staff to non-accessible areas. And let me conclude with transport. Transport, of course, is the connecting link in modern societies. Right now, in this area, and I have an asterisk there, although we have approvals of 35 million euro, we are hoping in the next month to have approvals of 105 million euros because of the particular issues that we were facing up to now that stopped us from having calls in railway projects. So approvals of 70 million euros, both for the regional railway of Western Thessaloniki and for the railway project Thessaloniki-Idomeni. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, northern Greece is not simply a geographical unit for us. It is the driving force, driving engine of development, crossroads connecting Greece with the Balkans and Europe, and has immense potential. So, based on specific plans, synergies, and through the exploitation of European funding, we can turn these prospects into a new reality of development that is sustainable, fair, and extroverted. Our commitment is clear: to turn every euro into an investment for the benefit of the country, for a better quality of life for people, and to create opportunities for future generations. Northern Greece is and shall remain a leading force in this new day and age for Greece. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Mr. Siadimas. And one final remark, I would like to thank very much indeed Mrs. Pantelopoulou for our excellent collaboration, the Minister who is guiding us correctly, and we work with very, very well, and also the directors and the heads of the managing units for all the efforts made so that the beneficiaries have access to these very critical resources, and of course you from the European Commission, and a lot of thank you to the representatives of the MOD agencies. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Siadimas, for being brief, and Mr. Verginis is here also, the mayor of Lefkada. Mr. Verginis is one of the oldest representatives of local authorities, a businessman, extremely experienced in what he does. Thank you for coming, and now let's move on to the first panel. So, let us begin and try to speed up starting with Mrs. Angeliki Fetsi, who is the head of the Managing Authority of Competitiveness, Entrepreneurship and Innovation, 3.1 million for the whole of the country for the operational program on entrepreneurship and innovation. You have the floor. Please come and sit here with us. And let me also invite the other panel members, Mrs. Elena Papia, who is Managing Director of Golden Star City Resort. Mrs. Papia, please come forward. Mrs. Angeliki Athanasiou, Managing Director of Whale Graphics SA, please come forward. We shall also have with us on the panel Mr. Simos Diamandidis, who is the chair of the Greek Exporters Association. Mrs. Fetsi is going to speak first and present her slides. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all participants in this event. I'm not going to repeat the capacities of each one. We have Secretary Generals, representatives of the European Commission, representatives of various stakeholders. And I would like to start with the competitiveness program within the PA, which focuses on the improvement of competitiveness in businesses and the development of innovation as driving forces for the development of the country and its strengthening its position in the international environment. Its budget is 3.85 billion euros, out of which 3.1 billion comes from the European Commission and the two funds, the Fund of Regional Development and the Social Fund, with priorities for the substantial support of the productive forces and human skills. Here we can see the 5 priorities. Businesses are in all these priorities, and we also have innovation and ambitious entrepreneurship and general entrepreneurship, and also the connection and improvement of human resources together with everything else that improves entrepreneurship. Let me say a few things about the actions that we have moved forward with. We focused in this period to reduce the number of actions and simplify so that we focus on the main challenges and needs that businesses face, taking them as large clusters without any marginalizations. So we proceeded with the action for digital transformation, through which we funded the support of incorporating digital technologies in the production processes of the businesses, with targeted activities based on the level of their maturity, from the lowest to the highest. We had a green transition activity where we funded the upgrading of products with the use and utilization of new technologies, but we focused on technologies and infrastructure that leads to energy upgrading and circular economy, thus reducing their environmental footprint. Together with these 2 major directions, which have to do with existing and operational businesses, we also broadened the business basis of the country through the establishment of new businesses, both in the sector of tourism and also the other sectors of the economy, by funding the necessary activities for their establishment and operation. Through this program, we started the funding of 13,750 new businesses with 1.78 billion. Together with this tool, which is for the total of entrepreneurship, we also have funding tools in cooperation with the Development Bank, through which we enable access to communication by giving loans with very favorable terms, since the PA provides public resources without any interest. I would like to mention here that through these projects, for the first time, we funded through European projects microfinancing, the fund of microfinancing, or microfunding for individual businessmen and micro entities which were not included in this funding. These are for the first time included in the market without any guarantees. So we have approximately 7,400 loans which amount to 1.88 billion total expenditure. If we add the 1.7 in a period of 2.5 years, we've put into the market 4.5 billion euros for over 20,000 businesses. Another form of entrepreneurial support has to do with the digital innovation hubs, which are alliances, partnerships of research and market bodies. Here, businesses, if they wish to participate in this innovation hub, don't take money, but they take very significant know-how in order to use new technologies, AI, computing of high performance, etc. In Greece, we have such a hub in the agricultural sector. During this period, we have the open action for the support of the extroversion of SMEs. It will be open until the 9th of October. Here we give the necessary services and funds to businesses so that they support their extrovert activities without leaving out those who do not have exports. Maybe they want to start exporting their products and services. This is an action that we wanted to complement with another action in the following months, which will focus on those activities where the trade balance of the country is quite deficient, where imports are lagging behind, and we want to increase our domestic added value. We're also going to have another action for the upgrading of skills in businesses, a very significant action that hasn't run for quite some time, and also an action that is very strategically important for the development of critical technologies in a new project for competitive advantages in our country, and this is an opportunity that we have to take into account. Thank you very much for this. We have more things to say. If we have questions, yes, because we have a major issue with time. Yeah, the event is for everyone. The president of the Association of Exporters of Greece. We used to be Northern Greece, but now we are Greece because we have members across the country. Thank you very much for your invitation. I represent the exporters of the country, both SMEs and larger businesses. As far as the PA projects are important, they're very important for SMEs, because as you know, for a business to become large, it has to start from small, medium, and then become large. So these projects help smaller businesses become larger businesses. Now, the new announcements, 80% of the exports are undertaken by 20% of large businesses. And this is the problem. Last year, when we had discussion with Mr. Papathanasis, the minister, we said that we're going to support smaller businesses to export. And when we say that the production model is going to change, this production model that has to change will produce more through knowledge, research, know-how, innovation. The more we produce cannot be consumed in Greece. They have to be exported. So we designed this program, Extroversion, which is going to help SMEs to export their products abroad. You know that exports are very important for Greece, because every 4 units of increase in exports means 1 unit increase in GDP, and this means 2.5 in central government, which will allow it to reduce taxes. This is the value of export. This is the value of exports related to the GDP. So we have really supported this project, and we help businesses to target markets abroad, especially SMEs. This is very important for SMEs because, as you know, Greece, the Greek people do not cooperate. We have this issue. We cannot cooperate. So this program is going to help businesses become more extrovert, cooperate, and be able to conquer markets abroad. We'll manage thus to reach our goal in 2030, which is 120 billion exports of products and services, so that we have a higher GDP without getting higher loans. This is the value of exports. This is the value of the program, and we're going to do all we can in order to achieve its goals.
Μείνετε λίγο μαζί μας να ακούσετε και τους.
Thank you, President. And let's listen now what business people have to say. We also have with us the Mayor of Pyrgos. Thank you very much indeed for attending this very interesting panel. And let me give the floor now to best examples and hear from Mrs. Elena Babia, Managing Director of Golden Star City Resort. So I am active in the field of tourism. So let us hear your experience and how you received funding, and also tell us, of course, if changes need to be made to the system. First of all, I'd like to say that the PA has safeguarded and strengthened the competitiveness of our company. We are a very small hotel located in quite a difficult area. It is a city resort in the sense that in the summer, it is a holiday intensive hotel and a resort hotel, and in the winter it operates as a city hotel. So basically our cash is full in the summer and empty in the winter because we try to maintain our staff and cover our expenses. One of the reasons that we remain open is in order to be able to hold on to a percentage of staff all year round, because as you know very well, indeed there is great difficulty in finding staff. So thanks to the PA agreements that we have completed, we were able to modernize our facilities in order for a hotel to remain competitive. After all, it needs to constantly upgrade its facilities and present something new. Wear and tear over time is very extensive. Mechanological parts of the hotel, air conditioning, etc., equipment all become outdated within a period of 5 years and need to be replaced. And although we consider ourselves to be quite a well-run, organized company, nevertheless, from the point of view of expenses, we cannot cover the renovation costs that competition actually expects in the city and all over Greece. We nowadays have hotels that are built by large groups and investors, technical companies, etc., which decide to open up a hotel in order to invest in this sector. The problem is with SMEs, usually family-run businesses, that is, which do not have this financial capital to invest. Well, the PA, as a result, has helped us in this in order to modernize our facilities. The program that we concluded recently that I'm speaking about helped us greatly to buy a cooling chamber, to change the whole air conditioning of our hotel. And as a result, we had a much better result overall and a very extensive reduction in energy costs because we used new technology VRV systems and thus reduced our energy expenses. We changed our equipment also in the restaurant area. And this was in general a tool that helped us remain competitive. in relation to all other hotels. What about the processes involved and the procedures? What would you like to see changed if necessary? Because we had the heads here. Well, I must say that I have been following the ESPA system for many years. I am well trained in this system, but somebody maybe who would use it for the first time needs more information about how to carry this out and how to implement this program, because there are many issues of an accounting nature, procedural issues that need to be followed closely. I now know what I need to do. For example, that when you make a purchase, you need to ask the supplier to write the serial number of a piece of equipment on the invoice, because when you have come to the end of the program, you get an invoice, and this number is not written on the invoice, and the piece of equipment has already been put in place, then this cannot be done later on. So maybe such details could be included in a guide, that all this needs to be taken care of in advance. People need to be very careful, accountants in particular, because SMEs do not have the opportunity to have their own accounting offices that are well organized. Some of the expenses may be low, but cannot be included in fixed expenses. If that's not done, however, they cannot be included in the program. So all this is something that the beneficiaries need to be well aware of. Mr. Karanasios is here. He is an excellent consultant in such issues and knows how these programs operate. So let's hear from what he has to say. Well, I think any company needs to also choose a good consultant in order to ask for PA support. Mr. Athanasiou, give us your experience, please, and what you would advise any interested party. We're not used to speaking at such panels. Thank you for your help. So tell us how your company benefited from the PA. So we are working in digital printing and its byproducts. I'd like to say that we are a privileged country in the sense that we receive these subsidies, which are co-financed by the EU, because that is not the case in all countries. So I think it's good for us to understand this and be grateful for this opportunity. We work in high technology, which is rapidly developing, and of course these programs benefit us, that we regularly apply for submitting relevant proposals, and through the approvals we proceed with the implementation, because all equipment, as was mentioned, in 5 years is usually considered outdated and we need to reinvest. And so you can understand how helpful all these subsidies are through these programs. We started with 3 people plus myself working in the company in premises of 120 square meters, and today we are 34 people working in 2,000 square meters in Thessaloniki with modern facilities and premises. We were able to introduce also net metering in time, which means that 70% of our energy is secured, which is very important help for us. We have also been able to use underfloor heating and cooling systems, and that also leads to great energy saving. And all the money that we save, we reinvest, looking for new ways to penetrate new markets. The green developmental production also allowed us to get involved in 3D printing, which is a major breakthrough in the digital age. And we are now hoping to also be involved in new markets. In the new program also, through the investment program that we submitted and was approved, we got a CNC piece of equipment in order to start working with technical companies in new markets. We managed to work in the technical services sector, and this gives us an opportunity to increase our clientele each time. So we are very pleased and very grateful for this fact. Okay, let us conclude and have a few words from the head of unit. We heard some information that I believe is very helpful. And now, just a few comments about how to further improve these programs. Well, it doesn't really have to do with the program itself, because I believe that Lena Papia said what I wanted to say, and the fact that an instruction guide would be very useful in order for people to avoid making mistakes. But let me give you some information about my own company, which is in the high technology sector, which is quickly outdated, and we have depreciations of decades. I don't use equipment that is a decade old, and this is a counter-incentive. So it needs to be looked at. I don't know if it's part of the program. And it is a counter-incentive vis-à-vis the incentives offered by the program.
And let me say a couple of things about what you said, and more generally, I would like to encourage participants, despite a prevalent view that we've seen on social media, that it's the same who get the money, same people who get the money, and very few opportunities are actually out there. But if you formulate a business plan as you should, you have very high possibility of getting support. The percentage of actually funding new proposals is quite high. We have newly established businesses that are funded, and contrary to what many people think, it's not the same people who receive the funding. 91.6% of businesses got only one funding, received one funding during its operation, and only about 8% got funding twice. So we have very high opportunities of funding new businesses. You need to study very closely the guidelines for funding. You have new obligations, new codes and regulations, GDPR, fundamental rights, permits, very special issues. So we have to read the guidelines very clearly. You should have a proposal that will consider the particular call. And one last thing, the truth is, I understand what you said. We have manuals. There are many details in these guidelines, hundreds of pages, but people don't read them because you get tired. This whole panel should be one topic. 30 seconds. Just, I would like to ask you, before a call comes out, it should be consulted beforehand with the sectors that you intend to fund. Tourism, for example. Sometimes you put in preconditions that leave out a very large number of businesses. Let me say the following, that investors and businesses should understand that the money of the PA is not given for free. You have to invest there, you have to pay for what you bought, and you have to and then you take your funding. First you invest, and then you take the funds. This is not given for free. Let's applaud. And before we start the next topic, let's watch a video, extra version of SMEs, program competitiveness, 200 million euros for the support and then for reinforcement of the exporting orientation of existing SMEs in order to improve their competitiveness and extroversion, their inclusion in international value chains, and the support of the international presence of their products. This action is co-funded by the European Fund of Regional Development and national sources. Eligible beneficiaries: existing, very small, micro, small and medium-sized enterprises which have a full year of operation. They're active in one of the available activities, and they have a plan for an investment. If you have a budget for an investment of less than 80,000, you're not eligible. The support can be given for up to 40 or from 40 to 50%. But it cannot be higher than 200,000 euros, and the implementation time is 18 months after the electronic notification of the final approval of your application. You have to achieve an increase of your exports of the supported business within 3 years from the completion of your investment. In the eligible expenditure, as an example, procurement of production and mechanical equipment, equipment for the protection of the environment, saving energy and circular economy, software and applications for the improvement of production processes, website creation, etc., packaging and branding services, patenting services and branding services, expenditure for the promotion, marketing and networking of the businesses, participation in professional and sectoral fairs, and expenditures for new staff. The funding application is submitted electronically through the integrated IT system. The 9th of October is the deadline for applications. For more information, you can contact the info spot in that phone number, or access the information points in the various services, public services. Extroversion of SMEs. Program Competitiveness, PA, with the co-funding of the European Union. Let's have a photograph, a picture. The head for human resources, for unemployment, education and training. I'm not going to give further introductions. In the following 15 minutes, we'll have to close this panel. So this panel, Human Resources and Social Cohesion, which has a budget of 4 billion and 161 million euros, focuses on connecting education with the labor market and the high demands that we have today. How do we achieve that? If we upgrade the institution of the internships and also career offices. Today, what do we have? We have Ms. Yana Hormova, who is the head of the Public Employment Services. She's going to talk about the various programs that are available, initial vocational training. We have two academics, Mr. Koroneos, who is a professor, who is the scientific supervisor of the student practice, and Mr. Karabetakis, who is the scientific coordinator for the acquisition of academic teaching experience of new scientists, new PhD holders. And we have two beneficiaries who will tell us the benefits from their participation in these actions. We prepared a better presentation. Unfortunately, we're pressed for time, so I wanted to give more time to our invited panelists. Ms. Romova, you know that I'm very brief always. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. I see 4.5 billion. We have 1.5 already taken 1.5 billion, so we have another 3 because everything goes directly to beneficiaries. And really, it is really worth it. So internship, the Public Employment Service is, as you know, the main body in the country which has invested in vocational training and education. We've had schools across the country since the 1950s, every corner of the country. We've given the opportunity to many high school graduates after the completion of their mandatory education to continue with technical vocational education. 37 new specialties that have large demand in the labor market with direct absorption. We have a system, a tracking system, which we track, where we track the career of our graduates, and 75% of our graduates find a job directly after graduating their vocational training. So through the funding of the PA, we had the opportunity, and I would like to thank the representatives of the European Commission with your recent study, and Mr. Napa, to visit schools of our services so that you see in action what internship means. It is based on the very simple thought that if you want to become a very good professional, you have to be trained in the business, next to the employer, next to the person who already knows their profession very well, and then continue their training in the schools. So through this dual system, education, on-the-job training, and in the school training and education, our graduates are complete professionals. Electricians, mechanics, hairdressers, chefs, and 37 different specialties and jobs. And through this very important funding, we can ensure the continuation of supporting businesses so that they can absorb more students. Very recently, in cooperation with the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, we upgraded our guidebooks and our curricula. And we believe that we will be able to have more highly skilled professionals. Just one thing to underline for the future, since the labor market is apart from a unit which tries to identify new and future jobs for the future. The social partners are also very important for us. Here we would like to review our cooperation that we could have directly with social partners through PA funding so that we predict new needs. Let's have a look at a specific case. I would like to point out the following, that innovation and funding is related to what was said earlier. For example, reviewing curricula, which will allow these schools to respond to the constantly changing and transforming needs in the labor market. This is both for internships and higher education as well, what the importance of interconnecting education programs with the labor market. And here I will give you the floor so that you tell us your experience. Mr. Kourkoulis.
Λέγομαι Καραμπετάκης, είμαι υπεύθυνος.
My name is Karabetakis, and I am the scientific coordinator of the program with the title Acquisition of Academic Teaching Experience for New PhD Holders. This was a program that was also operating in the previous PA and now also currently, which shows how important it is. It trains a specific demographic group, and I'm talking about people who received their PhD recently, who have not more than 3 years of experience, and this is related to the calls for new jobs, for new research staff at the university, whose precondition is to have a teaching experience of 3 years. The Aristotle University of Thessaloniki in the last year hired 130 people in the first semester and 130 people in the second semester, covering 90% of the positions. We have a high absorption rate overall. Now, with regard to the trainees, they submit their application and they need then to have specific schedules for the programs that they're going to teach. They need to incorporate modern teaching methods, which is very important for the faculties, and come up in front of large audiences, which is the first time in their life very often. They need to learn to speak to a large numbers of people, deal with the problems that may arise, and in the end they are also evaluated for the work that they have done. And all this is related not only to their academic life, but their professional life also, because such communication skills and problem-solving skills are needed everywhere and also in business. So, to connect this also to what was previously said, these people meet needs that we have in the curricula regarding new subjects for which proper research positions are not created, so we can use them in order to cover these needs. This is Ibonios Konstantinos, is a beneficiary of such an action. Let us please have a round of applause, and let's hear from you whether about your experience. So my name is Libonios Kostas. I am a PhD holder of the Faculty of Mathematics at Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. I would describe my participation in this program as being particularly useful for my professional career. For all young researchers, this transition from research activities to teaching is quite difficult, particularly due to the limited access to relevant positions within specific programs. Through this experience, I was able overall to understand the needs that exist with regard to the organization and teaching of a subject and of a course. But in addition to the practical part, I believe that I acquired an academic identity through my integration within the academic community. Needless to say that without this particular program, personally, I would never have thought of teaching as a career in tertiary education. And even more importantly, I wouldn't have thought of trying to pursue an academic career in Greece, at least. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much indeed for your comments. And now, Professor, it is your time to speak. Mr. Koroneos, a professor of the Faculty of Geology at Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, who is the scientific coordinator of the action with the title Student Practice or Student Internship. So, greetings to everyone. Student internships or student work experience is placing students in potential jobs where they could potentially be working in relation to their degree. So they do not go there to learn their subject. They learn chemistry and geology at the university. In these posts, they learn how to work in a professional environment, their relationships with their colleagues in different posts and with people that they will be working with in the same work environment, responsibility, creativity, and also find out whether the actual subject or job is suitable to them or likable. and whether they need to change maybe slightly what they initially studied, their initial degree. And they have much higher confidence at the end of this work experience. They become better familiarized with the workplace. And allow me to use this expression. Most of us, when we were young, used a flight simulator, where this is what people do in this program, like a pilot who goes to his job and does what they do without any risk. Well, that's what these students do with this work experience. They are supervised by a professor from the university and from a supervisor from the workplace without running the risk of creating problems or making a mistake. Also, this work experience is a foundation for the future employment. And a good example of this is Nikos Kourkoulos, who we have asked to speak to you today. So, hello and good evening. My name is Nikos Kourkoulos. I'm a mechanical engineer specialized in industrial administration from the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. I did my work experience in Izomat company in Thessaloniki, where I was able to put in practice my knowledge from the mechanical engineering department, creating a system for raw materials management in the company. And at the end of my work experience, I was offered a job, which means that my work experience was the intermediate step from my degree to the labor market and was a key to my professional development. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. So the goal of this program and of the state overall is, within the framework of this work experience, to provide on-the-job training and thus to create sustainable jobs, because that is what ensures social cohesion after all. Thank you very much indeed.
Έχουμε πατήσει γκάζι από ό,τι βλέπετε. Δεν είναι ότι καλύτερο αυτό που κάνουμε τώρα. Κύριε Προϊστάμενο, εγώ στα είχα πει ότι δεν θα προλάβουμε.
We will not have enough time for everything.
Let's move on to the next panel on sustainable transport, and we shall hear from Mr. Nikolas Kouretas, the head of the managing authority also. Please come to the panel.
Έχω παράπονα από πίσω όμως. Πρέπει να τα ρυθμίσετε. Πρέπει να φύγουνε. Λοιπόν, παρακαλώ τον κύριο Μπεκιάρη.
Mr. Bekaris, please come forward. The Director of the Central Administration and President of the Board of Directors at the National Center for Research and Technological Development. Please be as quick as possible. I will take less than 3 minutes. And I will simply say that we, the research center with 70 million income and only 3 million in public resources, we believe that these projects, the PA projects, are very important, but they are also important because we have the partnerships between businesses and research bodies. This is an issue. Businesses produce research bodies are very high ranked in Europe. So this partnership, the interconnection between businesses and research bodies, and also the offices for technology transfer are very important. We have a lot of things that we can still do. For example, industrial PhDs, people from the world of the industry, not from research going to the industry, we have that, but from the industry going to the research. This is very usual abroad. Let me finish with a statement. PA is not for research, it's for infrastructure. We've used it for research in Greece, but since it's been created for different types of investment, it's very bureaucratic. Bureaucracies triple that of a research project funded by the EU. If I lived in an ideal world and I were a minister for a day, as we say in coffee houses, I would say that PA should follow the rules of Horizon, for example, similar programs. This would solve all the problems that you heard about earlier with investors. It's not easy. There is a reason behind these rules and this bureaucracy, but I think we can work with the people of the PA to do something about it. Now let's go to transport. Mr. Palas, who is the head of the Special Management Authority of Transport. Mr. Kouridas, CEO of the Ελληνικό Μετρό, Christos Pallios, CEO of Hellenic Railways. I've known Nikos Kouridas for many years. Mr. Pallas.
Μηχανική τεχνική, οπότε θα πάμε γρήγορα. Αξιότιμη
Dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Transport Program 2021-27 is the PA program that focuses on the development of a strategy for transport. The strategic objectives include the development of sustainable means of transport, the improvement of network of transport, the promotion of combined transport, and the improvement of safety in transport. The budget of the program, as you can see, includes a total public expenditure of 2,224 million. National participation 370 million. The resources are used for the objectives of the regional policy for a more green and more interconnected Europe. A significant part of available resources is used in green transport. Specific themes are rail transport, 513 million, road transport, 699 million, urban transport, sustainable urban transport, 758 million, security in maritime, and 77 million, and sea transport, 140 and 54 million. We have major road infrastructure works that have been included, the expansion of the metro in Athens, and a series of security actions for air shipping. We're also going to include a number of rail projects in the following days. We're going to have the first calls for tenders, and a priority will be given to the regional railroad of Thessaloniki. So we're going to have, as we said, further support of the urban transport projects in Thessaloniki. You have been on time. Thank you very much. Mr. Kouridas, you can take the floor. I will be very brief. The operation of the Thessaloniki Metro has been very stable. We've had a lot of people using this means. During the time of its operation, 120,000 cards have been issued, which means 120,000 citizens used it. The impact is visible in the daily lives of the citizens of the city. We have a reduction of the traffic on the roads of the city by 15 to 18%. In other words, less cars, fewer by 18,000. Since the beginning of when we start the expansion to Kalamaria, the first trimester of 2026, we're going to have use of the services for more people. We have a major innovation. We have a private business that runs the metro. The Secretary General helped us here to choose the particular managing authority, and together with Mr. Societes, we've had the support in the whole construction was given by the managing authority, and we've had very strong cooperation. Thank you very much, Mr. Pallas. Finally, let me say that we focus on the completion of the line to Kalamaria and the new expansion to the western of Thessaloniki, the municipality of Ambelokipi and Evosmos, and also the Langada Street and the hospital Papageorgiou, and then the line to the airport.
Good afternoon. Let me first thank the General Secretary of the PA, Mr. Siadimas, for the invitation. So we are in Thessaloniki. The regional railway has been extensively discussed already. Let's talk about this very important project, which has to do also the project that has to do with the connection of the western regional railway with the sixth pier of Thessaloniki. They are very important because they affect both cargo transport and the commercial activities of the port. This is a unified project to access connecting the port and the western regional highway. The money has been secured from PA 2127, total budget 54.5 million. We are expecting the submission of the proposal very soon. This is a project that has begun through the competitive dialogue for many years, and the truth is we had this mistrust of the people about whether it will ever be completed. And we are here today to say that the B1 stage has been completed. From the economic bodies we have received the various proposals, which are now being matured. In October, we will have the tender documents that will be submitted to the managing authority for a check. The cadastral studies have been completed. Yesterday, the last portfolio amendment for the 5 environmental projects was submitted for the licensing of the project, and our schedule states that by the end of the year we will have signed the contract with the economic body, and in the first quarter of 2026 the project will start. The regional railway has 7 new stops and related projects that will include various shelters, parking sites, and jetties, and this will help the daily life of the people of West Thessaloniki to have a quicker access to the center. Also, through the connection with the railway station, which is also connected to the metro, we thus give to the city of Thessaloniki and West Thessaloniki a network of urban transport that is indeed combined, allowing people from one side of the city to move safely to the other and quickly. Also, you can understand the benefits which are great for the whole of the city and its citizens, because the traffic congestion will be reduced. From an environmental perspective, we will have a cleaner air. The port will also be able to develop, and we will have greater speeds, increased capacity, and Thessaloniki will become a commercial hub for the Balkans and Southeast Europe. So this is a great boost for the citizens of the city and the economy of the whole of northern Greece. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Mr. Pallas will be closing this panel. Before I come to you, we have young engineers listening to us who are interested in the railways. We have here Malamatenia Reali, who is a student. Young people, therefore, who come and hear about how the metro is operating and the railways. This is a specialty. They want to work in this field. And there's a lot of road to cover, yes, and we do want young people with a new law introduced, and we thank the Ministry for providing tools and flexibility in order to hire people who are better paid. And we also want to collaborate with universities in order to absorb staff from there as well. To conclude, there are other projects in northern Greece which are very important. The connection of the Kavala port, the port of Alexandroupoli, and with PA financing, we are completing the signage for the Thessaloniki-Domeni road. Also, as our minister mentioned, Mr. Kyrianakis, I would like to confirm that Thessaloniki will have a regional railway in Syndos and by December. With more routes, we have already started the relevant processes in order to serve the needs of thousands of students, and we have talked to the rector of the university in order to see the times of the routes that will help the students and thousands of people in Thessaloniki working in the industrial zone of Syndos. Yes, Thessaloniki needs this greatly. Mr. Pallas, first of all, thank you very much to the representatives of the two beneficiaries. And of course, their success is our success as well. Thank you very much indeed. Are we on time? Yes, we are. Next panel, energy transition, climate resilience, and environmental protection. So let me invite Mr. Nikos Mamaloukas, head of the Special Managing Authority on the Environment and Climate Change and Civil Protection Programs, Mr. Kostis Ifneos, the Deputy President and Managing Director of Gas Trade SA, Mrs. Ioanna Kosmopoulou, Director of Agios Pavlos General Hospital of Thessaloniki, and Odysseas Katsakas, former Director of the General Hospital of Thessaloniki, Agios Pavlos. Please take your seats.
Θέλω να σου πω, έχουμε και άλλα νέα παιδιά. Ο Χρήστος εδώ είναι πρωτοετής φοιτητής στο ΔΕΤ.
Christos here in the first line is also a student in the Economic University of Athens. A lot of other more young people with us. So it's very good to have young people on this panel. There's a lot for them to learn. Let's start with you, Mr. Mamaloukas, now. So good morning, everyone. Rather good afternoon to all guests. The program, Environment and Climate Change, is a program with a budget of about 3.6 billion. I'm not going to say more details about it. This period, however, together with the Civil Protection Program and the Environment and Climate Change Program, these are basically addressing the challenges of our times. We are focusing greatly on energy efficiency, energy consumption, and energy efficiency and security. Also, the lack of water resources with proper water management, and of course, in tackling problems linked to climate change. So, this slide here basically shows you what I have been talking about. Out of the total resources of the program, about 36% have to do with energy, 22% management of solid waste, which is also a major challenge that we are looking at seriously for the first time during this programming period, and 17%, which has to do with water resources, as the minister mentioned in the new regulation that is going to be revised soon. We shall try to redirect resources this way in order to deal with water scarcity problems. A very important project of this program is something that I'm now going to mention. Here you see the way the program is evolving, 70% approvals, and now major actions and projects. One, electric connection of Crete with the energy transport system of Attica, already in operation. Independent natural gas system of Alexandroupoli. Mr. Sifnes is going to go into this deeply. I have seen it personally being implemented. Very complex, very complicated, unique in Greece and potentially in Europe. Third, upgrading of hospitals. 67 hospitals with a total budget of 281 million. 44 million will be given to 10 hospitals in Thessaloniki for their energy upgrading. Upgrading in universities, interventions in water scarcity, water management, waste management, and liquid waste management projects. So many things happening, a very multifaceted program. and a whole thematic field in itself, I would say. Well, we can repeat all this in Athens if you like, in order to cover everything. Now, what about the next speaker? Yes, Mr. Sifneos. Well, I have a short video that I'd like to show of only 2 minutes. So, very interesting video indeed. We could speak for hours, not only about the economic role of the company, but its geopolitical role for Greece, the whole region, and Europe. But let's start with your presentation. Yes, I'll be brief in saying that we can skip actually quite a lot of these slides. Here we have the opening of the projects and 6 heads of state. So it is a project which highlights regional cooperation and solidarity, making Greece an entry point for energy in Southeast Europe, upgrading the strategic role of our country as a whole. So this is a project of 500 million euros, of which 226.6 million have been financed through the PA, 178 million through the EPANEC program, the competitiveness program, 22-23, and from 24-25, another 48.3 million. And I would like to underline the exceptional, I would say, collaboration that we enjoyed with the teams and of EPANEC initially from 2013. I'd like to thank her, Gelly, he is here today, and Makis Koutroukis. And from 2024 onwards, with my friend Nikos Mamakaloukas, with whom we have been working closely. We're nearing the end. Only a few more things are to be settled. But without this money, this project could not have been implemented. That is absolutely crystal clear. So we began to operate in October 2024. This is a project that we began in 2010. Keep in mind, we worked with the European agencies. We worked with the 2 financing schemes that we were provided with in 2021 and in 2022. I have nothing more to add. I simply like to say that this project is basically addressing a major gap that exists geostrategically in Europe up to 2030 through the vertical corridor, which is an initiative of the managing authorities of the countries of Southeast Europe leading to Ukraine, with the aim of supplying Ukraine with energy. And there has been a relevant announcement about this from the European Union, because this will go hand in hand with the phasing out of use of Russian natural gas. Without the PA financing, once more I'd like to say, this natural project could not have been possible. Thank you very much indeed. And we would also like to thank all those involved and the people who have also helped to proceed with all these developments. Yes, we often say a lot of things about the public sector and the private sector, but truly in this case, everything has worked exceptionally well. Mrs. Kosmopoulou, let's hear your experience, and Mr. Katsikas then.
I will also try to be very brief. Good afternoon, everyone. As the head of the General Hospital of Thessaloniki, Agios Pavlos, I feel great pleasure and honor to be here today in order to share with you a very significant step which aims at improving the services we offer to citizens and healthcare professionals, the energy upgrading of our hospital. This is not just a technical project, it's something that unites the past with the future, our hospital with the individual and society, etc. We're going to have more similar interventions that are included in the planning of the government for the modernization of the healthcare units, and especially hospitals are more energy-consuming public buildings because of their constant operation. As far as this project is concerned, it is the first energy intervention that is a complete project in a hospital in Thessaloniki. You can see some of the images of the before and the after. I will give you the most important parts of the project. It is funded by funds of the public sector, and it is co-funded by EU funds. It was included through the operational program Infrastructure for Sustainable Development 2014-2020, and then we had inclusion of the second phase for environment and climate change 2021-27. The total budget is 3,375,000 plus VAT, and based on the contract that was signed on the 26th of March 2024 with the contractor Start SA, we the project is going to be completed in 540 days. Mid-October is going to be the deadline, and we're very happy because this deadline is going to be kept. And this project was underway while the hospital was fully operational. That's fine. Thank you very much. But to come to this point, we have to overcome certain serious problems. When this was included in the NRTF, the initial program was less than what was necessary later. We needed an extra million, and we managed to exert pressure and get this money and have the necessary funding. The second problem is who would undertake the construction. The region of Central Macedonia could not do that because they had many projects underway. So what helped us is we went to another public service that agreed to undertake this project. And the third was that we managed to include the hospital in the reconstruction fund, and we got money for an upgrading of the building. The energy upgrading together with renovation of the hospital were undertaken together, and this helped us really a lot because it allowed us to do things at the same time while operational. First of all, I would like to thank our speakers who gave us their experience, and I would like to finish with a wish. Since we are upgrading buildings and we have been constantly working with the local authorities, I would like to see the strengthening of the local authorities with staff and means, and also creating an institutional framework that will help us rather than raise obstacles. But I believe that especially for hospitals, the upgrading of infrastructure highly improves the daily lives of patients. Thank you very much, Mr. Kosmopoulou, Mr. Katsikas. And now to our last panel, a lot of questions. Mr. Skiadimas, we could ask a lot of questions here, and we have to repeat that. So the last panel, funding, prevention and readiness, Mr. Petros Evgenikos, head of the subdivision of the Civil Protection Program, Mr. Pantelis Korosiadis, who is head of the executive agency of the Ministry of Climate Crisis and Civil Protection, Mr. Chrysostomos Stylios and Mr. Alexandros Bregiannis. So, let's try to move things a little faster. Mr. General Director.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your presence. I shall be very brief because I think that it's more important to hear the views of our distinguished speakers. So let me simply say that in our day and age when societies are suffering greatly from the climate crisis, due to more intense and frequent extreme weather phenomena and various other threats which are connected to man and technology, the state in time, in 2020, understood the need to strongly reinforce this particular sector. So the first time in the programming period, in the PA 2127, we have a sectoral program for civil protection. It is a program of 713 million euros. These resources are in absolute synergy and complementarity with the resources from other funds such as the RRF and funds also through a loan with the European Investment Bank. And they are used to finance actions and projects that have to do with the protection of human life and property and the protection of the natural and cultural environment by strengthening all the disaster management cycle issues, prevention through digital systems, technological equipment, readiness through upgrading and reskilling of human resources, whether we're talking about people who are working in civil protection mechanisms or the citizens. Also, in tackling such phenomena and the cost involved through the provision of Canadair airplanes, amphibian airplanes, and helicopters. And finally, also helps in actions which have to do with short-term restoration through mobile field hospitals and also equipment for housing and temporary accommodation of those affected. So this is a new program. We have already managed a great deal, also with the help of our Secretary General and the Minister, but mainly also through the efforts made by all representatives of the various departments and the Ministry of Climate Crisis and Civil Protection. One last thing, from the point of view of activation of funds, we are many steps ahead. We already have approvals 90% of the program in projects and contracts 70%. Why? Because it's very important for this equipment to come quickly, because it will help and strengthen our efforts and the efforts of all competent authorities. Thank you very much indeed. Mr. Korosiadis. Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to point out the importance of establishing for the first time in Greece within the current programming period of a program specifically for civil protection. This fact, in combination with resources that are used from the RRF and from the European Investment Bank, allows us for the first time and the Ministry of Climate Crisis and Civil Protection to plan and implement a holistic program focusing on civil protection. I'm talking about the EIS program that the Minister mentioned earlier, which takes into account all stages of the management cycle of disaster, prevention, readiness, combating and recovery. So all the various stakeholders are involved in this program. Now, with regard to the fire department, since I am an officer of the fire department, I'd like to mention that as a main axis of the civil protection program, we are one of the key beneficiaries. Through the ERDF, we have co-financing of projects for a Canadair 515 type out of a total of 7 that the country will be getting in the next few years. The one is coming from the PA, that is correct. Also 6 wildfire combating hospitals, helicopters from the PA, 9 airplanes, amphibian fire protection or wildfire prevention airplanes. Also, more than 204 cars will be obtained by the fire department out of a total of 1,400 vehicles that will be bought through AEs. Also, through the PA, we are implementing actions for personal equipment for the men and women of the fire department. The added value, well, through these means, which have to do with dealing with natural disaster, we will have added value through strengthening the operational capacity of the fire department, upgrading its operations, upgrading, of course, the protection of the population, and helping in the effective management of natural disasters. Modern equipment means that we will have a more effective rapid response, less damage, and better protection of the lives of people and of assets. Also, in addition to these measures, the fire department is being strengthened in prevention systems. Through PA, we have a fire detection system that will be placed in residential areas, environmentally vulnerable areas, areas susceptible to wildfire. Also, 7 drones will be purchased for the supervision of specific areas. And to conclude, and also linked to my second capacity as a specialist in disaster management, I'd like to mention this. Taking into account the frequency and mainly the intensity of natural disasters occurring in the last few years, both in Greece and around the globe, I believe that it is worth encouraging the civil society to get involved in civil protection. Within this framework, the Ministry of Climate Crisis has planned awareness-raising campaigns and actions. The fire department is directly benefited through this action because well-informed citizens can help greatly when we have large-scale disasters in tackling more effectively the operational steps that will be adopted by the fire department. Thank you very much indeed. And now let's move to Mr. Stilios, who is the director of the Industrial Systems Institute. Well, I shall focus on the future mainly because the present has already been discussed, and it's important to note that there is a civil protection program after all. The thing is now to see how we can design, plan, and take into account new emerging risks in these plans. If we look back in 2015 to 2019, did we expect that there would be a COVID-19 pandemic affecting the globe? We believe that the technology available to us would be able to deal with everything. However, we had to deal with the pandemic and in the end use very classical means and methods such as quarantine and social distancing. So, for the forthcoming period, what we need to do is to design a new type of civil protection, to think about potential new threats that may come about, which may seem impossible or highly unlikely, but nevertheless may occur, and to prepare the whole of our national system to deal with them. One of these threats are cyber attacks. We all have mobile phones. We are all in a fully connected world with our infrastructure. Also, we are all connected through the internet, through our mobile phones. Also, executives of various authorities who speak to each other using their mobile phones. And this use of technology could be impacted by man-made, in this case, factors that we need to be prepared for, not something owing to nature, as in the case of natural disasters. There are already actions being taken and directives on a global level being implemented, and we need to take these into account and incorporate them in our civil protection as soon as possible. Mr. Bregiannis, the Managing Director of Nova ICT. It's important to note that the issue of climate crisis has become very persistent. We see that year on year, the consequences of natural disasters become more intense. This is something that we will not avoid in the future either, unfortunately. But what we can change is to change the management model used and mainly invest in prevention. We need to enter thus a period where prevention will become a priority for the state and, of course, combating these phenomena. But readiness is also another very important tool in order to deal with what we are experiencing. Prevention, however, I believe is the key to success. And as a technology company, Nova, which has undertaken 2 or 3 major projects in the field of prevention and technology, can contribute to this aim, as well as many other companies of the field. Technologies are a tool, after all, that enable you to prevent occurrences. There are many early warning systems, measurement systems, field sensors, various applications that can inform people in time about evacuation, for example, requirements, and many solutions which are being developed by companies in Greece, by companies, by the university. We are here to formulate this ecosystem that can provide this added value to the state at the end of the day. So let me briefly mention now these 2 projects that have already been mentioned by our speakers. One project that started with the financing of the sectoral program we are discussing today is the National Crisis Management System, or the National Database, as it is known.
In order to be able to deal with the natural disasters, you must have data, you must have the necessary information. So what do? We're creating a platform, a smart operational center that I would call it, which will be included in the Ministry of Climate Protection. It will be ready in about a year and a half time. It will allow us to collect all the information necessary in order to know who is where, both at the level of human resources and equipment, what vehicles we have, what the conditions are. I will have to interrupt you. So we'll see the points of water, the level of the tank, how many people are on the vehicle, where, when we're going to have the airplanes, where they're going to drop water, etc. So they're going to have this information so that they're more ready on an operational level, because at a time of crisis you have to make decisions at a very short time. So in a very short time. So we're going to have this database that will allow us to have decision support that will be based on real data, not empirical data. So the second issue has to do with the purchase of systems that will allow us to detect fires. Things are not going well. I think they are deteriorating because of the climate crisis. So we have to get a series of technological systems based on optical sensors and other technologies that will be more organized and will allow us to supervise forest areas and other areas of special interest, which will allow us, through the use of artificial intelligence, to project a fire before it becomes much larger. So the time of information for a fire is the most important thing. Apart from a technological innovation, we are making a very important investment in our country for its resilience and its safety. So it's more than technological projects. They're safety and defense projects. So I believe that the state was very correct to receive funding for this, and we hope we're going to complete these projects successfully in the following months so that they are real tools in the hands of people who are struggling day and night to keep us safe. Mr. Head of the department, you understand that you're saving lives. We are really struggling with time, and we want to be winners in this struggle. What I can confirm here is that those of us who are working with the implementation of this project will do everything we can in order to be on time, not correctly, and we also have the responsibility to plan gradually the next program for the next programming period, which will focus on what Mr. Stylios mentioned, new things, new threats. The first project will help us ensure an equipment that was necessary and very critical for the operational forces. Now we have to look at the next day, and we'll have to plan it in the right way. Thank you very much. Let's finish here with Mr. Tsiadimas. Stay with me so that we finish together. Mr. Tsiadimas. Mr. Tsiadimos. Can you hear me? Okay. I must tell you that each and every one of these sessions wants one day, in a one-day event. We'll do that. We'll do that in Athens. And next year, we are going to have more time. This is a proposal to the people of the ministry. Perhaps not have such a short time, have some time in the morning. Perhaps the ministry can give us some time in the afternoon. For this panel, we would need 4 hours, definitely. And I would also like to participate. So this panel for the success stories, this is another 4 hours. So very fast, let's start from the end. First of all, we had 3 very important things. We heard, I think you said that, we heard that we have to encourage citizens, inform them, so that they participate in civil protection. This is very important. And at a time of crisis, people should know what they're doing. Because very often we've had accidents because let's go to see the fire, the flood, and many accidents happen. Also, what will impress you, Mr. Epiphantis, that we're going to buy Canadairs, helicopters, etc. So very important material and technical infrastructure. What Mr. Bregini said and the vision Mr. Filios put forward, that whatever we do, for example, the fire should be put off in the first minutes. We need sensors, we need mechanisms for the equipment to be coordinated that are provided by the platform that is underway. And we also need something that is very important, that is aligned to the new regulations. Europe, when revising its programs, is asking us to go to directions of dual use because we have military applications in civil protection. So this is very important, and we should do it now. And then if we move to a different field, I really liked what Ms. Hormova said. There is a platform where they track their graduates in their career, where they work. So we have very tangible results and information, we can have feedback for a review of our curriculum. I also liked. I also have a PhD and know that how important funding is for the acquisition of academic teaching experience, because it allows people who hold PhDs to have necessary experience to become academics. Flight simulation, also very interesting, how it allows you to, this practical skill allows you to become a better professional. The lady who worked for ESPA, for the PA in the beginning, she said that it really protected she was a beneficiary. She said that it really protected my business and the survival of my business. So you can understand the significance of this funding in SMEs. The Metro of Thessaloniki. This was a project funded by the PA. Mr. Kureta said that we have 120,000 monthly cards, and we had a drop in road traffic by 15 to 18%. And when we have the regional railway and the expansion to Kalamaria, we are going to have further improvement of traffic conditions in the cities and also improvement of the port facilities. Finally, did I miss something? I did miss something. Mr. Mamalungas, you had discussions with the previous director of the hospital, who said that the regulatory framework needs some changes so that these projects are implemented at a faster pace. I would like to finish with something, and I would like you to applaud for my directors. We keep what the gentleman from gas rate said, Sifneos, who said that such a cooperation with the public sector he has not experienced in the past. So congratulations to all the administrative staff. Thank you very much.
Του χρόνου.